which means that we're going to have 5 in the outside divided by 10. And then it says inside, and that says outside. So anything before the division sign will go inside the box. Anything outside is in the second number. The second number after the division sign. So after that, I actually want to do a little bar right here. And it can go up a little bit as well. So now let's say, I need to make sure how many does 5 go into 1. So how many does 5 go into 1? So if I thinking about this way. So if you think multiplication is kind of difficult, think about it like this. So if I'm a size 10, right? And I want to buy a shoe that is size 5. My foot won't fit on that, right? Same over here. 5 is too big to go into 1. So how many times go into 1? It'll be 0 times. So now I put a 0 over here. And I put 0 minus 1 will end up being 1. Now I have to bring down this 0 down. So I have, now my number will be 10. Now I have to think about it. How many does 5 go into 10? And I go 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Oh, that's what it is. So I'm going to put a 2 over here, because that is 10. Now we subtract it over here, and that equals 0. Our remainder is 0, so our answer will be just 2. And that is just some of the basic things that we need in order to actually know how to divide. Now, I would suggest you can pause, we look at this again to make sure you're in the right steps. Now I'm going to erase it. I'm going to do some examples of your homework, but I'm not going to give you the answers of your homework, alright? So, I'm going to erase this. So one of your problems, or one of the homework problems is 0.76 times 100, right? So my thing and my theory will be, my example will be 0.31 times 100. And then we're just going to put a question mark right now because we don't know what the answer is. Now we're going to focus on how to actually solve that problem. This, you can also read it such as 0.31 over 100. And that is this means the same thing as that. It's just better understanding. And just now I have to multiply. What is 0 times 1? 0. What is 0 times 3? 0. Don't forget the decimal place. Oh no, don't worry about that right now. 0 times 0 will be 0. Now I remember you have to put a 0 here. Now 0 times 1, 0. 0 times 3, 0. 0 times 0, 0. Now I have to put 2. Now I have to do 1 times 3. 1 times 1, 1. 1 times 3, 3. 1 times 0, 0. And then at the end, we have to add them up. So now I'm going to add them up. You can do a straight line like this so you don't get confused. Whereas what? So this will be 0, 0, 1, 3, 0. Now, how many numbers are behind the decimal place? Is it 1, 2, 3? Now we're going to look at this and we'll be like, oh, it's 2 numbers behind the decimal place. So I'm going to start on my right side right here. And I'm going to move my decimal place to the left twice. 1, 2. So now my answer will be 31. Let me write that more clear. 31. The reason why I don't write the 0 here is because we really don't need it. You get what I mean? Because 31 means the same thing with the 0 or without the 0. It doesn't make sense for us to add a 0 at the end. Alright? That will be the example for problem number 1, or 0.76 times 100. Now, I'm going to go on and move on to 0.14 divided by 2. I'm going to do an example similar to that. So now I'm going to use blue, just because I like blue. So we're going to use 0.21 divided by 3 is equal to question mark. Just as you remember, this is going to be inside. This is going to be outside. So I'm going to put in my box 0.21 divided by 3. And if you want, just put the decimal on top because that is not going to change. And division sign is not going to change, you just move it up. so you avoid putting it in the wrong place. So now what we can do is also put this line like this to make sure we don't mess up. Now I'm gonna use black for now for this. So the same thing over here. How many is 3 going to 0? It'll be 0 times. So I'm gonna put 0 here. And it's gonna bring it down. And then I have to bring down my 2 now. How many is 3 going to 2? Well, it goes 0 time again because 3 does not fit into 2. So I'm gonna have 0 minus 2 will be 2. Now I have to bring down the next number, the following number. 3, 1. Bring down the 1 all the way over here. So how many is 3 going to 21? So now I have to think about this. This is a big number. It's a 2-digit number now. So I have to think what number will fit into 21. So now I can go 3 times 1, 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18. Now I'll be like, oh, okay, it's 7. Because 3 times 7 is 21. So this number will be 7. And then 21 minus 21 will be 0. I don't have a remainder. So my answer will be 0.07. And you can always box your answer. Alright? So now that is an example for this type of problem of 0.14 divided by 2. Same method, same routine. It is with different numbers. Alright? So now I'm going to go on. Try to do another example. Another example would be this one over here. 39. Oh, well, not that one. 45 divided by 10. And now I have to think about it. Remember, this goes inside, outside. And if my numbers look kind of messy, my writing too, I promise I'm going to take some art classes so they can get a little bit better, alright? So now I have to think of 45. And I have my 10 in the outside. You notice? Outside, inside. So now I have to think about it again. How many times is 10 going to 4? And if you still need this, don't feel afraid. Create that line. Alright, so how many is 10 going to 4? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, how many? 0? Yes, exactly. If you choose 0, that is correct, sir. If not, back. Alright, so now I'm going to put 0 here. So I'm going to bring down the 4 because 0 minus 4 is 4. Now how many times we have to bring down the 5? So how many times does 10 go into 45? So if I multiply 3 times 10, it will be 30. 4 times 4 and 10, it will be 40. That'll be okay. It's kind of close. Now 5 times 10 is 50. That's a lot more. So we can't go down above. So we'll first put 4 because that'll give me to the closest one. And now I end up getting with 5, right? However, we have to push each other a little bit more. So when we have no space and we need to like continue on, we have to put a decimal place and we add a 0. So what do we do now? We bring down that 0 all the way down, all the way over here. So now when we bring down that 0, we remember we added a decimal place, right? So we're gonna put a decimal place right there as well. The decimal place just will go up just as like the other problems we've been doing. So now, how many times 10 going to 50? And we already know that there'll be 5 times. So that means 50 subtracted 50 will be 0, and that will be 4.5 my answer. Okay? So that will be my answer for that one. And then let me see. Now I'm gonna try to hurry up a little bit because of time. Alright, now I'm gonna do that problem was similar to this one over here. So now I'm gonna do 12.6 divided by 3. A similar problem will be 14.2 divided by 2. So 14.2 divided by 2. There's question mark, and then inside, out. So we have, it'll be a question mark, no exclamation mark. So we got 14.2 divided by 2. Now we have to always think about, remember, you won't have to create this. I do it just to make sure I get it accurately. So the first thing I want to do before anything, that decimal place, I'm just going to move it up already. Because that is not going to move. It's always going to stay there. So now, how many is 2 going to 1? We already know that. It will be 0 times. So it will be 0. So we have 0 minus 1 will be 1. We will bring down the 4 now because it's our next objective. So we have 14 now. How many does 2 go into 14? So if we end up trying to multiply that, we'll end up getting 7. So we have 14 minus 14 will be 0. Now I have to bring down my 2. That'll be over here. How many does 2 go into 2? Well, that'll be 1 time. 2 minus 2 will be 0. So this will be my answer. 7.1 or 7.1. These two answers mean the same thing. This is a better method because you don't typically see 7.1. Alright, so now we're going to go to the next 2 columns really quickly just to make sure that we catch that. However, make sure that I'm doing similar examples, but I'm not doing that exactly problem that you have in your homework. Alright, so if you have any questions, make sure you call me so we can actually adjust that. Alright, so we finished doing this one already. We're going to move on to that one. So 19.2 divided by 2 in, out. Right? By now we should already know that. Yes?
The other one.
Yeah, don't matter, baby.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
You recording?
Mm-hmm.
You recording that? Alright. So this will be in and this will be out, right? And this is for your homework. However, I'm not gonna do that. So you think I was gonna do it, right? So no. I'm actually gonna do this type of problem now. 7.2 divided by 2 is question mark. So I'm gonna go 17.2 and 2. Remember, in, out. Alright? So now how I'm gonna I'm telling you, I'm gonna take some art classes because this is not looking good. Alright, so now I'm gonna do the same thing again. So now remember my decimal place right here. I'm just gonna put it up so I avoid forgetting it or something. So now I gotta go, how many is 2 going to 1? Well, that will go 0 times, right? So we have 0. Right here we have 1. Now I'm just gonna bring down to 7 because my next target. How many is 2 going to 17? Well, I have to think, what is the closest thing I can get to 17? If I go, what is 2 times 6? That'll be 12. 2 times 7 will be 14. 2 times 8 will be 16, right? So it'll be 8 over here. And we have 16 over here. 17 minus 16 will be 1. Now we bring down that 2 all the way down. So now I have to think about what number will give me 12. And we just counted that off earlier. So you were paying attention, the answer will be right there. But in case you forgot or you don't know on top of your head, 2 times 6 will give me 12. So it'll be 0. So my answer would be 0.86 or 8.6. Both of these answers will be correct. Either way you want to write it, it's totally fine. Sometimes professors or teachers like it this way instead of this way, but it should be fine either way. Now we're going to go to our last problem. Our last problem is something that's 7 divided by 100. I'm going to go 9 divided by 10 because I think 9 divided by 10 is a cool number as well. So we don't know that. Remember, this is going to be in, this is going to be out. So we have 9, 100, and then just remember, so everything, if 100 doesn't fit into 9 and we don't have anything else, we can always put a decimal here and add a lot, 1, 0 for now. We can keep adding zeros over here. After the decimal place, you can be adding zeros. It don't matter, but you only put zeros for how many you need. So in case I need 5 zeros, 2 zeros, any number that you need, amount of zeros, you will put them right there. How many is 100 going to 9? 0 times. So that will be 0 over here. So 9 will be right there. We bring down the 0. So how many is 100 going to 90? Well, that's impossible, right? Because 100 does not fit into 90. So we're going to add another 0 over here. So we add another 0. We bring down that 0. So how many is 100 going to 900? Well, that goes 9 times, sir. It'll be like, alright, 9 right there. And then our answer would be 0.09.